Welcome to Suladan Plays Bendy and the Dark Revive. Yes, I'm sure a million other YouTubers have played this game already. Well, that's too bad. They did the same thing for Bendy and the Ink Machine, and I played that recently. Why? Tiny font, too many language. I appreciate what you're trying to do there with all the languages, don't get me wrong. I would recommend having it show one at a time and just having a left-right toggle of some variety, and then, like, you know, press space or enter or confirm, and it, you know, goes its merry way. That way you have more screen space for each individual language, and it doesn't feel like you're just trying to cram them all on there, like those, all too wonderful little instruction booklets that we're all so familiar with, probably, that use just, like, oppressively tiny fonts because they needed to cram as many languages into as small a space as possible rather than print a reasonably sized instruction booklet and then do the different languages. Tiny fonts. I can read them fine, but a lot of people have problems either with the tiny fonts or with trying to figure out where their language is because it's never in the same order. Just alphabetize it or something. I don't know. That is neither here nor there. And I think he's going to get grumpy if I keep putting off pressing the begin button. Not even an options menu, just begin. I stand corrected. Very quickly. Subtitles, yes. English, yes. Since when is VSync something that has a high or a low? I'm sorry. VSync is on or off. What is this high and low VSync? For those that don't know, VSync is vertical sync. I believe it's vertical. Basically, it locks a game's frame rate to the refresh rate of your screen. If your screen refreshes 60 times per second, guess what your frame rate is? 60 times per second. Or 60 per second. I have never heard of... VSync is always a toggle. I have never seen a game have low and high. What is this? What is this? What is this low and high VSync? I'm sure somebody knows, but what back? How does back? How does out of... Oh, there isn't an out of. You just click. You are new to the studio. You have visited before. You have mastered the studio. No, we're playing normal. I'm not insane. Crazy, yes. Insane, no. Hopefully this game will answer some of my lingering questions from the first.
We're always free to choose.
Are we though?
To believe what we want to believe.
I know that voice.
But when you step back...
Wait, I know that room.
When you really
I know
look
that house.
at where you've been and the things you've done, your past will come.
It's Boris, isn't it? Oh, I kind of figured he would kick the door open and it would just be Boris standing there looking goofy. Task 1, find Boris. Task 2, give him a head pad and a bowl of soup. Task 3, escape, because we're clearly trapped somewhere. Hello there. If you're drawing with ink on that, I don't think you'd be wiping at it quite so much.
There you go, little guy.
And only 800 more frames to go. No way I'm getting through tonight without some coffee. Probably some downstairs.
A lot of respect for the people in the animation industry that painstakingly draw frame by frame by frame by frame by frame. It's a lot of work. I don't have the attention span for
a little adventure.
I don't like coffee, though. Can we have a different adventure? Can I sprint? Can I crouch? Can I do anything? Can I jump? I cannot. I can only walk. Can I pick up pencil? Can I move chair? Wait. Nope. Chair is not moving. That is a very strange doorknob. I've never seen such a flat doorknob. Like, it's so close to actually, I stand corrected. I've seen one doorknob, and it wasn't nearly that flat. No, wait, it wasn't flat. It was just too close to the door frame. My great aunt had a doorknob that almost touched the door frame, so you couldn't actually wrap your hand around it. You had to just, like, grab it from the top and kind of twist because you'd crush your finger between it and the door frame. Like, you had the door frame here and the doorknob was right up against it, and it was really annoying to me. I don't know who installed that door. They clearly... something went amiss. Something went very awry. Is there anything to interact with out here? I'll take that. Also, don't think I don't notice that little diamond floating around the edge of my screen. Why are you pointing me at the fire? No. Root beer. Give. Give to root beer. I demand the vanilla goodness. I just need ice cream to go with it. Actually, I don't need the ice cream to go with it. I want the ice cream to go with it. Hello there. Yeah, you probably want to... Well, this is 1978. I was going to say shut off any electrical equipment that's, you know, tightly tied to voltage. Your computers and whatnot, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for you here in 1978. I mean, there were computers back then, but this place doesn't appear to be the type that would have had one, you know, lying around taking up half a floor of space. I don't know if they had emergency. I don't know how. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and show my lack of knowledge of 1970s. What was I looking for again? This doorknob. This specific door. Why? The world may never know.
Really?
It's locked.
They locked me in. Good thing I brought my own key today.
I'm glad I didn't turn around to see a horrifying monstrosity, because that would have been horrible timing. I can search things. My key is not in any of these. Is it in this one? No. Also, why can't I jump or crouch or do... Hi there. I already don't trust you.
Who put this here?
I don't trust you one bit. I'm lucky I don't have a Ghent pipe. Or a gent pipe, technically. Or a bent pipe. Or a pipe in general. Actually, I could throw the typewriter at him, but I think then they'll dock my pay. Wait, I'm not a writer. They wouldn't dock my pay. They would dock the writer's pay. Actually, no, that's not how that works. They would dock the pay of the person that did it, not the person whose tool it is. The keys are not in the filing cabinet. Where is the thing pointing me? Like, you're gonna give me a weird little diamondy pointy thing and then not tell me where it's pointed. How did I lose it so quickly? Where is it pointing? Okay, hang on. Nope, there it is. It's on the desk.
Whew. Here's the key.
Why don't you keep that in your pocket? You know, they make all sorts of nice little belt hooks that you can hang keys from. Or pockets. You can never have too many pockets. Anybody notice the little Bendy statue? Well, not statue. Cutout is gone. He done moved in here, hadn't he? He gonna be in front of the door. Nope. He gonna be on the other side of the door. Why do I lunge at the door? Like,
Not the most welcoming hallway I've ever seen.
was that mop moving on its own? But, yeah, weird thing I've noticed, and a lot of games do this when they do the whole animation for you going to the door. They lunge the camera at the door for some reason. Generally, when people reach to open a door, they extend their arms. They don't lunge their whole body into it. I don't know why. Like, from a design stance, it seems common. I've seen multiple games do this. You'll see games like, and I'm not speaking specifically for doors, but just over-exaggerated animation at times. Alien Isolation did it. This game's doing it a little bit with certain interactions, where it's just, if the camera is representative of the player character's head, because, you know, eyes, ears, and all that is roughly where the camera would be. Many of the movements we make as people don't involve our head moving. We tend to keep our head stationary. You know, case in point, you have a lot of games that do the excessive head bobbing. No. One, people get motion sick. Two, you tend to try to keep your head as stationary as possible. I understand you're trying to do so in order to simulate movement and add immersion, but you need to be aware of other factors as well, such as, to me, immersion breaking, because I have had some... I'm trying to think of... I know I've had a couple indie horror games that did it where the head bobbing and the flashlight bobbing was just crazy high, and it's like, no, nobody, that's not how you do. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just a weird thing I notice here is she's lunging a little Archgate. What happened to Joey Drew Studios? Excuse me. It's just the way she's lunging for the door when she opens it. It just feels overly animated and not...
Hello? Is someone there?
Not like it matches what's happening. I don't know if anybody's there, but I'm busy in this office rummaging through files. If I turn around and die, I'm going to be very sad. Anybody want to explain? No, it is on a cart. I was about to say how a bucket slid across the floor so gracefully, but it's got little wheels. They're just hard to see. It's a bucket on a little cart. I approve. Actually, I like that. A lot of them, well, I guess I was going to say a lot of the mop buckets I see are these huge yellow things, but it's because they have the mop squeezer thing attached to them. The smaller bucket is nice, but would have the downside of not having a ready way to squeeze out the mop, which is very helpful for when doing of the moppings. Nothing in there. Oh yeah, we're gonna need to disable that, aren't we? I don't know, we'll cross that road when we get there. If the depth of field gets to be a problem during cutscenes, we'll see. I remember the last game I mentioned that there were times where, and it's primarily the difference between player and viewer. Generally, the player's eyes are centered to where the camera is, but the viewer's eyes may be going elsewhere, looking around the frame more. And if it becomes too prevalent where everything but the center is blurred due to difference of depth of field, it can be unpleasant for the viewer in ways that the player doesn't notice as much. But, like I said, we'll cross that field bridge when we get there. It's just something I'll stay aware of. Who are you? You the janitor.
You scared me to death.
I'm sorry, my dear.
I like you.
Didn't mean to frighten you. You're working late tonight. A pretty girl like you shouldn't be wandering around all by yourself. Mind if I step in?
Are you hitting on me?
Of course not.
Thank you, Audrey.
Nice guy, though.
You look like you could use a little company.
He means well. Harmless old janitor. Really good voice acting. Like the voice.
It's been really nice this past week.
Just beautiful. Gorgeous.
Okay. That, setting off some red flags there, buddy.
Please tell me we're not trapped.
Even the building knows it.
Don't you worry, my dear. It's just a little short in the system. Happening a lot these past few days. No need to fret.
Oh, you're taking me somewhere, aren't
Let's
you?
see what we can find. Come along now.
I'm concerned by you now.
Old Wilson will protect you.
I'm concerned that you're luring me into a place. You were following me. Or you may be completely harmless and I may just be paranoid. And if so, I apologize for that. I'm not going into that. Utter darkness there, sir. Sir? You don't expect me to just go into the dark, do you? Oh.
There we are. Just a few more switches to throw. Follow me.
You're at least
It will be
chattier than Boris
perfectly
was.
Safe.
Don't know how much to trust you, though. You're hitting on me a little too much. That sets off some red flags. I mean, I'm sure you're a perfectly nice gentleman, but there's a bit of an age difference there, so... I'm concerned. Also, how big of a studio am I in? I guess we're in the big city. I'm not used to multi-floor buildings as much. It's like that conference I went to. We ended up like on the... Our hotel room was on the 16th floor. I don't think I've ever been at a building with 16 floors, let alone been on the 16th floor. Loved it. It was just funny that every ride in the elevator made my ears pop due to the pressure change. Beautiful view. Also very quiet because you're far, far from the street. I want 5 of them. They shall patrol the halls. Hi. Well, I'm starting to see familiar stuff. Oh no, I see real familiar stuff. It's the ink machine pedestals. In much tinier form, but these are the exact pedestals. Are you having me restart the ink? It's the tiny version of the ink machine. It is. From the, after you beat the game, you get the room with all the different models and all, and it shows you, like, the original ink machine where it was all tiny. Tiny ink machine. And the 6 pedestals that you used to start the big ink machine. And a wrench that I could use. I am concerned by what you're having me do, sir.
Looks like someone's been messing with the exhibits. There should be something on each of these pedestals. Audrey, sweet Audrey. Do an old man a favor and go find them. I'll tend to the power.
Okay, one complaint. And this is from an artistic stance. I love the character design you have for Wilson, but you have emphasized the fact that he is blind in one eye. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. Generally speaking, if someone's blind in one eye, they're going to be emphasizing their good eye. You have him emphasizing, like when he looks towards me, he's using his bad eye. The one he, can't see out of, unless there's some big plot reveal I don't know about. I mean, I've seen shows where it's like somebody's faking and they had a good eye all along, but that's neither here nor there. But generally, the person would be turning their head slightly so that their good eye would be presented more, not turning so their bad eye is presented more. Because if you basically cover it, the more you rotate, the less your field of vision is towards where you're doing. Just a minor critique. I love the animations, but the fact that he's, leaning more forward with the eye he can't see out of just feels a little odd. It's mirrored to what one would expect. There's a lot of fun little subtle things that do change when somebody has an impairment in either ear or eye. Just subtle shifts in how their body more or less adapts around it. Case in point, if you've got, if your left eye is bad, your head's going to tilt slightly to the left so that your right eye is more center, so you get more of a centered field of vision. If one ear is bad, you may, your posture may shift to present the good ear more fully. It is just subtle things. I got the wrench. I accidentally broke the power system in the process. I can't swing the wrench. You're just going to have me wander around in here. Well, I found a plush. Case in point, a lot of this going on in the animations just you'd kneel down, pick it up, go back up. You wouldn't... like, sorry, I hit the microphone, but some of that's not necessary. The illusion of living, Joey Drew. I think it's the initial acceleration on the animation. It's like the camera snaps forward to where it's going to do the animation. And it may be doing it depending on where the player characters is compared to where the animation needs to be. So it's probably just closing that distance too quickly. But watch. See, she went... like, it's just... Those animations, to me, feel off, and it's not specific to this game. A lot of games I've seen do it. A lot of games will go the complete opposite direction and just have the object vanish, make a sound effect, and be like, acquired, you know. Basically where it just picks it up instantaneously. So, I'm not saying that either is the right or wrong answer. I'm just saying that it is something you do notice. You know, if you want to read that, please pause. Okay. I forgot what all I'm looking for. Ah, music. See? Anyway, I'm going to stop pointing that out now. I've pointed it out enough. I don't know what all I need. I got that, I got that, I got that. I do not have that. A gear. Can I take it from this? You okay in there? Oh, you're gonna have me start up the tiny ink machine and set the whole world on fire. Where would a gear be? Also, the lack of a sprint still bugs me slightly, but I guess thematically my character wouldn't just be running around all willy-nilly. Oh. Gearbox. Has a gear on it. Like, here's another problem here, and not a problem in game design or anything whatsoever, just a Audrey should be asking questions problem. Someone's been messing with the exhibits. Well, why would the gear from the exhibit be clearly inside of a gearbox on the wall, fitted into place amongst other gears? If it was truly an exhibit, you would expect it to just be strewn on a shelf somewhere. Methinks you are having me activate a device that I shouldn't be activating, under the guise of saying that someone has messed with the exhibits. But here, have a gear. Oh, that animation is a little... It's just... every time. And the hazard is the fact that from the game's perspective, the player could be in any of these positions and activate it. So the first thing it does is it snaps the player to where they should be, moves their camera to where it needs to be to initiate the animation, then proceeds with the animation. The animation itself is smooth. It's that point where the game has to suck the player to that starting position that then makes it a little weird. And then, after getting the player into the right position, it has to rotate their camera to where it needs to be, because it has a set starting position. Player needs to be at these XYZ coordinates, player camera needs to be pointed in this direction. So it does it quickly. Seemingly it takes the same amount of time no matter what your distance from the starting point is. So when you're far away, you go whoop, then you rotate, then the animation plays. But that is something, again, an often underappreciated aspect of game design are little polish and details like that a game developer would have to look at, presumably during their later polish runs, because during earlier design phases, some of these things would have placeholders and other things, but what have you. What Wilson?
Only one thing left to do.
Turn the machine on in the world.
Switch.
Called it. Flow control. He wants me to start the ink machine. Fine. I ain't got nothing better to do.
It is done.
Wilson?
Oh, Audrey. The things you've set in motion.
I mean,
The ink is calling us, my dear. Can't you hear it?
What?
why didn't he start the machine himself?
Don't fret. We're going home.
Stay back.
Listen to me,
I
Audrey.
wonder if he's who I think he is.
Pay attention to these last words. Because very soon, you will forget everything.
Let go!
Come find me, Audrey. Come find me, and I'll show you your purpose. I'll show you the truth.
This can't be real.
And now, we die.
What are you doing? Oh, no. No!
I've heard of, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going to go with that. Look, ink. Bendy and the Dark Revival. Nice little title card you got there. It reminds me of some movies where they'll do the little prologue bit, then the title screen, then the movie. Don't know if there's a word for that. Probably prologue, and then the main body of the work, whether it be game or movie or book or etc. I know prologue and epilogue would be the pre-story and post-story, but I don't know what you would call that middle point.
What's wrong with my hands?
They're covered in ink. Like, from your waking perspective, you would think they're just covered in ink. Unless you're feeling something wrong, which you're not voicing as much. Wilson knows. That's concerning.
What's happened to you?
Also, what happened to the you will forget? Because you know you're Audrey. And covered in ink. Everything is now, you know, colored as one would expect from a Bendy game. I'm concerned by that. The man who killed the ink demon. I mean, clearly you're not saying that he's the player character from the first game. I would have to look that up. I don't think Wilson was the name. It wasn't Wilson. What was the name? I don't remember. Read. Every great story begins in mystery. Although some things may be dark in the beginning, the truth will light your way. Don't be afraid of who you are. Fear only what you may become and banish it away. Your best pal. Joey Drew, personal memo. Oh, that's going to be a constant thing in this game, isn't it? I hope not. I hope everything I pick up doesn't do that. Probably just new items. Well, the tape was illuminated there, but we're not picking it up, apparently. Okay, so we've got notes, options, glowy eyes, very glowy eyes. I'm gonna assume crafting components of some kind because the sequels always implement crafting for some reason. Also book. The Illusion of Living again. I mostly say that because I'm reminded of like Bioshock 1 and 2. Bioshock 2 added more of the crafting system. I don't remember if 1 had it as... I remember 2 had the like full-on... I don't know. I don't know. It's been too long. My mind remembers so many random things, and sometimes it's hard to keep them all in order. Especially when you're dealing with multiple entries in the same, like, story series, because then the memories start to blur together. Still need to play Bioshock Infinite. Haven't played it yet. I have it, I just haven't played it yet. Good games. I just, you know... It's... Time is always the issue, and, you know, whatnot. What just happened with the camera there? I didn't push E the first time. Anyway, man, you'd think I was drowning kittens the way these people look at me. I've never seen such disappointment. Yeah, but it's the way of things. If management can't pay their bills, the bank takes the goodies back. Still, it does break me knowing how much I love them old cartoons this place used to make. Oh well, times change, life moves on. Telly Wester. So presumably the bank started repossessing and taking stuff, or taking the rights to some of the characters in order to pay their debts, perhaps. Or the studio sold the characters, or the rights to the characters, in order to pay their debts. Case in point, I believe that's... Oh, just what we need, more review. I believe that's how Sony ended up with the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man rights. In the days of yore. Oh, I saw that little glowy thing float by and it spooked me. What's with the glowy flowers? And why does that one glow but them's don't? What is the glowy flowers? Can I eat them? If I eat them, will I glow? Is that why my eyes glow? I ate the flowers. Oh my. Press C to crouch. I'm more of a control to crouch person myself, but, you know, whatever.
Attention, children of the machine. This is Wilson, your friend, your protector. For 211 days, you've lived without the ink demon haunting your steps. I banished him away, tore his body in two. In return, I ask just a little favor. Among you, there is a stranger, a young lady. Bring her to me.
Methinks he's lying because, well, whatever. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. In the previous game, you know, the Ink Demon was banished, per se, not by Wilson, and not torn in two. And then the game re-began again with the spyglass the whole time. And then you finish it, same thing happens, and then the game begins again. So, I don't know. Hoping that will be explained a little bit. Joey, Jack and I have been wondering if you'd meet with us considering the situation. We've been with you for many years, and we feel we've contributed to the success of Bendy in the past. Our interest is purely in keeping this company strong. We just want to help. Let's talk. Sammy. I don't trust him. Last time Sammy was involved, he tried to hit me with an axe. It didn't end well for him, but he tried. I see something moving in there beyond... Oh, that's just ink. A linker. A linker? Better not be a fast travel system. That better not be a fast travel system. Not that I have anything against fast travel systems, it's just... Nothing against them. You know, it very much depends on the game. That's just more of a joke than anything. It very much depends on the game and whether it fits with the game's design, much like any mechanic or system. Sometimes certain mechanics get a bad name because you'll have too many games that will... What's the word I'm looking for? If you take a mechanic that does not fit your game and use a crowbar and force it in, then people are going to typically notice. Generally, you'll have some fad mechanics that work great in their element that get shoehorned into other games. A common example is, crafting systems, honestly. There's been some games that have done them really well, so you have had a lot of games that didn't need a crafting system, have one crammed into them, and it not work well. But then you have some games that didn't really need one and they crammed it in and it worked just fine. So, like, that's not a judgment in any specific game, just a hunger and thirst systems, crafting systems, temperature systems. There's been a fair number of them. Honestly, I know I keep tangenting a lot today. I like survival games, I like survival horror games, and I like games that do try to do the hunger, thirst, temperature, and all that. My problem with it is generally you go one of two directions. It's either oppressively difficult to keep food, water, and temperature where it needs to be, and I've had some games where it's actually due to respawning for a fair portion of the game, it's easier just to let the character, like, off themselves and respawn than it is to be able to find food and water, which is kind of... that's probably a sign that something in the game's design is not working really well. But then on the other hand, you have games that apply it, and food and water is so plentiful, it's like the system isn't even there. So it's like... one example to me would be The Forest. I love the game, don't get me wrong. It's no way of criticism. You have clean water and you have polluted water. There's no real reason to take the extra effort to purify the water. Like, drinking polluted water chinks your health by, like, this much. Like, it's such a tiny... There's no lasting debuff. There's no big health punishment. It's like you can completely survive the whole game on that. Healing is prevalent, so if you drink enough of it to eventually, mess with your health, you just heal. So it's like the system almost doesn't need to be there. It's good for when you're in caves and all, because you can't, there's not water sources down there for you to cheese that system, but it's just something I noticed. But then you've got other games where, like 7 Days to Die, where it's early on, it's annoying to have to keep finding water because I thought it was dysentery or whatever. But then later on, you end up with just so much water laying everywhere that it's like, it's really difficult to balance some of these things across a larger gameplay experience. Anyway, another note. This one's got a hand on it. The ink drips. Darkness spreads through the studio. The reaching shadows creep around you. Something hungers for your corrupted flesh. It is close, so very close. It strains to grab you, to choke you from behind. You will feel its breath upon your neck, for it is close. I disapprove of the way the lights flickered after I picked that up. I disapprove of the fact I ain't got a wrench. Give me a wampum stick. Crouch. Uncrouch. Crouch. Uncrouch. Well, aren't you horrifying? You are not a physics object. Huh. I'm going to assume that's a pocket watch chain. I don't like the way your eye is stitched shut with rope, no less. Yeah, that's that guy, so... Something went wrong with you, buddy. Something went way wrong. Tape.
I just received the call. Joey Drew is dead. What a quiet end to an extraordinary life. Last I heard, he was staying in some cramped apartment downtown. You could practically hear the rats through the telephone when he called me last April. In spite of that, old Joey sounded quite happy when last we spoke. More like the excited, hopeful young man I knew once upon a time. Well, farewell, my friend. What will become of your creations now?
Minor critique. I liked that in the other game you had the text on screen for those. So I guess I'm just going to be, when I find them, I'll press play later and then come to this menu. So yeah, if you want to read it, there you go. You may pause. Preferably pause before I closed the menu. I should have waited a little longer. Oh, look. Can climb. Can pull lever. Override the security! What was the security doing again? Why are you telling me I can run? Oh, I can actually sprint this time, and I have stamina. Why do I need to do that? That's another minor critique. And, most games do it. It falls into a horror game trope of... Generally, the game won't tell you that you can hide until you're about to need it. It won't tell you you can run until you're about to need it. It won't tell you you can crouch until you're about to need it. Now, normally, this is fine. You do generally introduce mechanics to players one at a time as they're ready. But it also breaks a little bit of the tension when it's like, oh, hey, by the way, you can run. And I'm like, why are you telling me that? What am I about to run from? I guess it could intentionally be done to put the player on edge. And especially if you then don't cash in on it, or wait a bit, or do it right then just to freak them. Bear? Why is this box full of nachos? Actually, it's full of mail, but it looks like nachos. It's nacho mail, I guess. I don't trust it. I really don't trust it. Why is it red on one side? I guess that's wood. I thought it was a curtain. Honestly, the way the texturing and all works, it could be. I know it's not a curtain. It is a board based on everything else. It's just funny that you could probably use that as a curtain if you applied the right texturing and physics to it. Oh, this is not a happy place. Also, why didn't Gooba set off his own machine? Why do you need Audrey to do it? Audrey was the good angel all along. Yeah, possibly, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I don't know. As the winds are changing around here, I'm asking myself, Sean, what are you doing? There's a whole world out there, places to see, a family to spend my days with. This here job is just a job. I'll have others like it, no worry there, but the important thing is we should remember to live. I think it's time I did just that. Sean Flynn. Okay. Big plush Boris. Unsearchable box. Another security override. A climbing thing. Actually, this one doesn't say... Ah! I disapprove. Out of order. You know what? I was gonna go get that. But, I think it's a good time. I'm gonna go ahead and pause here. Thank you for watching, and next time, perhaps we'll figure out what's going on or where the save points are, because that save point is out of order. Depending on where I put the camera, you may not have seen in the top right corner, it did say auto-saving, so need not worry there. So, minor aside, there's a whole save menu. I was going to exit the game, and there's like, look, saves. Game saved. Huh. Nifty. Anyway, see you next time.